Operation Babble with Myke Shrews. It's pop culture, music, movies, TV too. It's time to explore life. It's Operation Babble time.
Welcome back, everybody, to Operation Babble, episode 150.
Yeah, we did it.
We got there. We totally did. Also, Merry Christmas, everybody. It is the end of the year episode. I am, of course, your host, Myke Shrews, here with my co-host and friend, Tivis. So, Tivis, how you doing today, dude?
I'm off vacation, so not as good as I was last time.
Gotcha. But I also, Tivis just told me off air, his wife's kind of mad at me, so I don't know what to say to that. My wife's always mad at me, so I don't really give a crap, I guess. Sorry, I love you. Both of you, I guess. She doesn't listen, does she?
No. Thank God.
I'll make sure to make some more posts then. No. So today, guys, it is our Christmas episode, and this is our third or fourth annual Christmas episode. I always forget. But I guess before we dive into anything, the dirty business, you can find Operation Babble on all social media platforms. That is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, as long as Twitter is around, everybody, via Operation Babble. You can also find us on the YouTubes via the Myke Shrews YouTube channel at the moment, and hopefully by next year, 2023, our YouTube channel will be launched with our video content on there specifically for Operation Babble, and we'll build that up for you guys over there. So, anything else?
I feel like that's something that gets said every year for multiple things. Hopefully next year. Hopefully next year.
Yeah.
Hopefully next year.
Hopefully I get
Then
off
the
my
next year
lazy
just-
ass and do it.
And next year just turned out to be a big disappointment.
Right. Oh man, yeah.
But hey, we got Matthew Lillard in a new movie, so whatever.
Do we? What's that movie?
Five Nights at Freddy's. We were just talking about this morning.
Yeah, but the audience doesn't know what the hell you're talking about.
Nah, they could look it up.
Oh, jeez.
We'll see if this
FNAF,
movie
yes.
ever gets made. I hear that they said they were going to make it when I was in high school still.
The FNAF film? Yeah, they've been
Yeah.
talking about doing one for a long time. So, because how old is Freddy? FNAF world? That's like 10 years, 10, 15 years now? No, it can't be 15. About 10. I wanna say.
2014. So no, they couldn't have talked
Almost
about it
10.
in high school because that was way after.
Yeah, so it's almost 10 years. I was about to say, how old are you, dude? Like high school? Because I know that shit didn't come out when I was in high school for sure. But yeah, I'm interested to see it. We have already had two in the same kind of vein of, the animatronic killer puppet things. At least two that I know of. I'm sure we've had plenty more. Three if you count that new Child's Play with Mark Hamill.
I thought you were going to say Megan.
Oh, no. I don't know if that's based off of a robot doll or if it's demonic, like, possessed
It's
doll.
a robot.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure from the few bits of the teaser I've seen.
Okay. That makes sense. I'm still, yeah, I guess I'll hold off. I haven't watched the Nick Cage version one yet.
I hear good things about that. But then again, my
I've heard
buddy
a lot of
loves
good.
Nick Cage, so.
Yeah. And then I watched the, like, B version movie of a Banana Splits one, where they took the characters from Banana
I forgot
Splits
about that one.
and turned them into killers in this movie.
Yep.
So that was interesting, and my kids watched that one with me. So, because I was like, "Oh, it's FNAF. Like, we'll watch this." Too. I didn't know what FNAF was until after, like, way after. I just thought it was, I didn't realize how brutal it was.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought it was like a little jump scares here and there. So I didn't know a
Oh
lot of the
no.
backstory.
Yeah, once you start diving into the actual story that many people don't even realize is there, it's dark.
Yeah. Yeah. There's that one, and what's the other game that we have? It's uh something inky or
Oh, Bendy and the Ink Machine or whatever.
yes, Bendy and the Ink Machine. Yeah.
Yeah, that first one was distributed by Rooster Teeth before they shut down their game division.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, so we have that game. My youngest wanted it. I didn't know what the hell it was. We got it, and he wouldn't play it.
Yeah, it's
so,
so freaky.
so
That
I would
that
have
just
to
came
for him
back.
to watch. What's that?
That one just came back.
Did it?
Yeah, the return
Okay.
of Bendy or whatever.
And then there was Cuphead. Cuphead was pretty. It's the animation is
Brutal.
childlike, old
playing.
school, childish, but it's brutal. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's also a really hard game for people that aren't like gamers like me. I'm not a
The,
big gamer guy, so
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah.
I was
Uh,
like, this is, I can't get past this one dude. Like, what the hell?
if your kids like the aesthetic, the Netflix show is a more kidified version of that
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, they've watched that before.
Okay.
So we've seen that, and I pay attention to it too because I know the game did deep dive into like a lot of demonic shit.
I mean, oh yeah, you sell your soul to the devil and become a
Yeah.
drunk. So
That's basically it. Oh, so yeah, I did watch the show with them a little bit just to check. So I'm not one of those parents who just turns the TV on to this and walks away. Come on. Sorry to any parent that does that, I guess.
I'm not
Anyways.
paying attention to what your kids are doing.
If you did not like that comment or anything else that I have said so far, you can email us at operationbabble@outlook.com and let us know. You can also email us there and let us know if you'd like to be on the show or any other subjects and content that you would like us to talk about within the pop culture media realm. We're not talking, whatever politics or, who did what on, I don't know. Yeah.
You want to talk politics? Brandon Routh. No. He's actually really funny when I saw him at the convention I went to.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was heckling people in every line except his.
Speaking of Brandon Routh, one Superman we lost. We lost another Superman, dude. Another one.
I know.
Henry
Mark
Cavill.
Henry's Mark Henry.
Mark Henry.
The world's strongest man.
I would love to see Mark Henry in the Superman suit now.
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, Henry Cavill has stepped down or has just been kicked back out. I'm not
Basically
sure.
just been fired.
Yeah. Just weeks after he already announced that he was coming back as Superman.
Yeah, there's a lot of DC stuff.
And spoilers, though, I know you haven't seen it yet, but the awesome cameo that he does in the recent DC movie, Black Adam.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure The Rock is probably upset about that on top of the other crap The Rock is upset about with Black Adam. So
Yeah. Oh, they fucked him so much by moving that from July, but whatever.
is that when the original date was?
Yeah, it was supposed to be
July?
like second or third week of July.
Okay.
So like dead center of summer.
When it would have been bigger.
Yeah.
Bigger movie
And Patty's script was thrown out for Wonder Woman 3.
Mm-hmm.
No word on if she's actually still doing the movie or not.
I don't know what's going on with that. I haven't been paying attention a whole lot to it. Like the only things I really see are if you like post them or share them in our group chat.
First, the people on Twitter who were saying, "What's the point of seeing Blue Beetle now?" No, go fucking watch that movie. One, do you want nothing but Batman and Superman forever?
Right.
Because if you don't support other characters, that's what's gonna happen.
Unfortunately, Tivis, there are people that only want Batman and Superman. So,
well, they're idiots. So.
Yeah. So, I want more characters. I want a Blue Beetle movie. Because
I hope it's still on the slate. So here's hoping.
And
that poster looked awesome.
what does it matter? What does it matter? Like, I don't understand them saying, because I haven't seen those tweets. I've been like distant from a lot of crap lately. We've been taking like a month off from shit, so I literally took a month off. But when they say that, like, what are they meaning? Because Blue Beetle, we don't know what it's connected to. It may not be connected to anything
Well,
from
basically
the
everything on the
Snyderverse stuff.
current slates of stuff coming out. Shazam 2, Blue Beetle,
Flash, if it ever comes out.
Flash. And I feel like there was another one too, but they're saying,
Aquaman too.
Oh, Aquaman 2, yes. How did I forget that?
I don't know, but that's like your baby.
That was supposed to be out last week. Or no, actually, it was supposed to be out yesterday. But yeah, they're saying, what's the point? James Gunn's rebooting everything, so none of these movies will matter. I'm like, well, who cares? There's still going to be a good time. None of these movies even connected to each other, pretty much. They're all standalone, so who gives a shit?
Right. Like, I'm assuming they're going to run off of whatever Flash does, I guess.
Yeah, we're gonna see. I've seen, or I've heard rumors that there's so many more cameos in the Flash than we realized, and the studio's thinking about removing some of them because they're gonna go nowhere now.
Right. Yeah, because you're supposed to have like the one cameo that would set up Batgirl, which we're not getting. Hopefully, I've heard James Gunn was talking to the creators of that, so hopefully they get something out. Grand is not going to be that product.
But I know people are upset that the old stuff's being just thrown aside, but I am excited going forward. They have with James Gunn and the other guy whose name I can never remember.
Nobody can. So everyone blames Gunn for everything right now. They don't remember the other guy's name.
But they have a cohesive voice now going forward, and that's going to be a big difference. They have that Feige role filled, which is something that DC and even Star Wars, Disney side of things are lacking severely.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for the future. It's just disappointing to see what we're losing. Especially since they want to go back to a young Superman. Like, how young are we going? Are we going like Superboy type young? Because I don't want to deal with that. Let's just.
If so, just do Superboy. Like, can we not? Like, that's the thing I didn't understand was we're doing a young Superman, but I was like, Henry Cavill's Superman was in his like early days still, from when we first saw him, anyways.
Yeah,
Man of Steel.
I mean, I know he's not exactly a young guy, but I mean, was Robert Downey Jr. when he took on Iron Man?
Right. Yeah. It's interesting to see what they do or who they bring in for these, are they going to bring in no names and stuff or,
No, I doubt that they're
DC's very like big name.
The Warner Brothers studios are so scared to take any chances. I doubt they'll go with no names.
We'll see.
They're one of the worst, honestly.
I'm intrigued to see it move forward. As much as I kind of wanted to see the Henry Cavill and the Dwayne Johnson interactions, and I wanted to see different aspects from the remains of the Snyderverse come into play. I'm also excited to see what we get moving forward. I've always been a big advocate for, like, Marvel has their one combined MCU universe. I've liked the fact that DC was kind of all over the place, like like you could have like 20 different Batmen in theaters at the same time at that point, 'cause we had the Robat and then we had Ben Affleck's Batman still going
and Joker
at the time and Joker and and we even had like Gotham running when Batman v Superman was going, I think it was.
Which they're still going forward with Gotham Knights. So is that show dead on arrival? Can we expect a season 2? Like, what's going on?
That's a CW one, right?
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah. I'm also intrigued to see what happens with Flash. I don't I don't see anything coming from the Gotham Knights. I think that's gonna just fade.
Oh,
People
they
don't
just.
want it. People don't want it anyways.
I'll
Like,
check it out, but I'm like, this isn't exciting to me. This isn't
No.
what I was wanting, but whatever. Maybe it'll
They're-
be good. Who knows?
I think they're just trying to run off the name of the video game, or because
Yeah.
the video game just dropped.
Even though they have
recently.
nothing alike.
They're nothing alike. But that's what I think their hope is to go based off of the hype for the video game coming out, and I'm just like, that's not gonna work.
Yeah.
You're
never see-
ostracizing like
play
a
your
big,
W.
yeah. Well, they're like ostracizing a big part of their fan base, with some of the moves that they're making. They're not gradually doing it; they're all at once. And I'm like, that's but all these people saying, "Oh, we're not going to go and watch any more DC content because Henry Cavill's not in it." I'm like, bullshit. You're gonna go and watch it.
Majority of people who say that are
Like,
totally
come on.
hypocrites.
Your wife's gonna drag you to go see Aquaman 2, or in your case, you'll drag your wife to go see Aquaman 2. Like,
That's the more correct version, yes.
Or I want to see Blue Beetle. I really have been
dude, I
wanting a Blue
cannot.
Beetle
That
movie,
is my
so,
most anticipated superhero film of 2023.
Yeah, I think it's gonna do good. Is that going to theaters or no?
Yes, theaters
Okay.
only is what the poster said a couple weeks ago.
Cool. So that's awesome to hear.
Which someone pointed out to me. I
Okay.
think it was my buddy Richard. He said that the poster looks like the Beetleborgs logo, and now I can't unsee it.
That's awesome. Oh, could you imagine like an updated version of Beetleborgs too?
Well, tell Hasbro, do something with them.
Mash the Beetleborgs with the Munsters.
Oh God. I mean, they pretty much did with that show.
Right?
We're just missing Flabber,
The Jay Leno of ghosts.
Jay Leno, Elvis.
I have a giant Flabber on the other side of my office right now. I'm still trying to figure out where to put him. Like, well, not giant, but he's like a 12-inch guy, I think. He's still in box and everything. I was like, I have to have this. And now I have nowhere to put him.
Did you watch the promo for the final season of Flash at all?
I have not, because I have not watched the recent season of Flash yet. My son, so we generally watch Flash together, so we're going to try and start that up shortly here.
Yeah, I think it's only going to be like 8 or 9 episodes, so it's going to be
13.
short. 13? Okay.
Yeah. Yep. So it's going to be a short one. I'm interested to see where they end it, because that's the last of the Arrowverse, main Arrowverse anyways, right?
Yeah, there's the orbiting of Superman and Lois, which that
What
just
about
got its first
Stargirl?
trailer too with the new John Kent.
What about Stargirl?
Stargirl's done. They canceled that.
Holy shit. Are you serious?
Yeah, they canceled it 4 episodes in. Remember we were talking about it. You said that they could give it a finale.
How many seasons did you get? 3?
3.
I need to watch that third one then. All right. Fuck.
Yeah, that just wrapped
I
up.
like that show because they actually took some risks with like some of the heroes, like the powers and heroes
I don't
that they
know.
put
That
into
was
it.
HBO Max like financed, just like Superman and Lois. Why isn't that just being moved over with Titans and Doom Patrol? I don't understand.
Right, especially Stargirl, because it had like zero connection to the Arrowverse stuff.
Yeah, just
And,
very loose under the umbrella.
Yeah, and like Superman and Lois, you could always just say that it's an alternate reality of these characters. You didn't even have to say.
You need
it's
to watch
those
season
same
2,
ones.
man.
I did, didn't I?
No.
No, I watched season 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you have any other news before we dive into our Christmas episode?
John Barrowman's crazy as hell. And not because of the stuff that people are pissed off about, but I met him in person and he's wild. And
Okay. Oh,
awesome.
at the convention you were at?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were telling me about that. Why don't you tell the audience? Just a little snippet.
He's very boisterous. Is that the right word? Is that a word?
Yeah.
Bombastic in his personality. There's this there's a woman there. He does charity for her, but she meets him every year at this convention, and he was telling a story about how they share Christmas pictures, and she's got cats. So he's like, "Oh, I can't wait to see her, cat every year, but not cat."
Yeah.
And then he was the only guy I saw not signing on the other side of the table. He was on the same side as everyone, chatting with us, talking to the crowd.
That's
He'd
awesome.
disappear and pop up behind you and be like, sorry about the wait.
Yeah.
And then just kind of walk away.
Right. I he basically trolls everybody.
Oh yeah.
He doesn't care. Oh man, what I would do to like just go to conventions, like if that was my job, just to go to cons and stuff and just have fun with the fans and mess around with my coworkers and stuff, or my peers.
Yeah.
I would love to do that. I would also be that actor though, or that personality or whatever that would be like, how about we have a conversation before we take the selfie? Like,
oh, we did. Yeah, we talked about my name.
Let's do that. Yeah. Like let's make the selfie the last thing on our minds, because the selfie goes away, the conversation stays with you forever.
Oh yeah,
the selfie doesn't go away.
We
but
talked
you know
about
what I mean.
The first Tivis, 4 generations ago, and how that name came about, and he decided bourbon.
Nice, awesome.
Kevin Smith just fucked off from that convention, though.
Did he? Was he there?
They took his whole booth down. Like Jason Mewes was still there, but Kevin Smith was gone. They took his booth down so the line for Rosario Dawson could have more room.
Huh. Okay. Did you get to talk with Rosario or no?
No, I didn't even get close. She was right next to John Barrowman, but the amount of people there. Oof.
Yeah. It's probably also an expensive line too.
Yeah, pretty much all of the legends were there too, and I'm sad I didn't have more money to go meet them. Matt Ryan especially, which I didn't recognize because he grew a beard.
Yeah. Nice. All right.
Anything
jump else into the con?
No, it's just fun. If you haven't a chance to go to a convention yet, just do it. It's super fun. The one I went to was GalaxyCon. They travel around. You might have one in your area.
Okay. And then for me, I really didn't do much. I did get to for our Munsters fans out there that listen to the Munstercast as well. I did get to meet Butch Patrick, the Eddie Munster, the one and only, the kitchen cabinet sleeper, that guy. So that was pretty cool. He was really nice. Got to meet him and his girlfriend and stuff. So. And got the little conversations and stuff with him. So yeah, tune in to the next episode of the Monstercast to hear more about that, I guess. Which won't be airing until like sometime next year.
It's always nice when you can get someone who doesn't have a ton of people so you can talk to them. Because I also met Jodie Whittaker, and her line was so big. It was basically like, hey, how you doing? Okay, cool, bye. Look at that Grinch behind you.
Yeah.
There was someone dressed as a Grinch.
There's still so many times where I'm talking to specific celebrities and stuff that I don't like fanboy out over anybody. Like even when I met The Rock when I was a kid, like I didn't fanboy out. But like,
well, he didn't pick you up with his bicep, so
actually, we did get rock bottomed in the back room.
Oh, okay.
But
it's a little different, but
it was so long ago, and I'm trying to see what my kid is doing in the other room here real quick. When I do meet celebrities, I generally try to have just a basic conversation. It's that selfie moment that's always awkward for me because I'm just like, I want to talk to you. I don't really care about the photo, dude. I want to be able to tell the stories and stuff. So it was nice to be able to. Where the fuck was I going with this? My kid distracted me.
You're talking about meeting Butch Patrick, and it was nice talking to him.
Yeah, it was just nice talking to him, and generally whenever I meet any celebrity, I love to just chat. I'm not gonna fanboy out over them or anything like that. And some celebrities like that, and some do not. So yeah, that wasn't the case with Butch though. So
the guy from Jaws was there, Richard Drive.
oh, Dreyfus.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was there, and he was next to Jody, and like we waited an hour for Jody. That's how long her line was.
Mhm.
And he had like maybe 4 people the entire time we were in line, but he was laughing it up, smiling, looking at everyone, the costumes. The guy was having the grandest time.
Yeah.
That's like that right there made me want to go chat with him. Just people like that who were just there having fun.
Yeah.
Not just there to get paid.
Speaking of, chatting it up with somebody to have fun, Tivis, I enjoy you.
But I don't know about that wording. I enjoy our time together.
Let's hope your wife listened to this one. What do you mean he enjoys you? What type of photos you sending him tonight?
Don't worry about it.
Why are you in the bathroom every time you text Myke?
We do have a weird thing that this. No one's going to be interested in this, but we have a weird thing where every single time I go to text you, you send me something right as I'm about to hit send. Every single time.
Yeah.
But should we get into this movie finally?
Yes, we should. Can you announce the movie or
right,
show and movies?
We will be talking about the entire Santa Claus franchise, the Santa Claus franchise, starting with the 1994 The Santa Claus, which was, I believe, Tim Allen's first lead film, right?
I believe so, because before that he had Home Improvement.
He was a TV show guy, yeah. Home Improvement's so good. They actually had a little nod to Home Improvement in the movie.
Did they? What was it? I didn't know.
Or he picks up the tool belt and starts to put it around him, and he's like, "Nah."
Oh yeah. In the second
workshop
movie.
No, it's the first one.
Is it the first?
Yeah.
Okay.
The second one, he's fat the entire time.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Well, I guess not the entire time, but the entire time he's in the North Pole.
Right. Well, he starts to get fat as the movie progresses along. So for people who don't know, I'm sorry, I was pausing because there was people yelling in my house. As far as like the Santa Claus franchise, like this dates back to 1994, and Tim Allen coming in as the Santa Claus. It was interesting. What were your thoughts when you first watched that film, like as a kid? Do you remember any of that, or?
Well, I mean, going into it, I'm just going to leave it on that one. Yeah. I was a huge Home Improvement fan. Like my mom had that on all the time. So, I sat there and watched it with her. So Tim Allen, he's like, I still enjoy him as an actor, like a lot. And I know that's going to blow some people's minds. He's got different viewpoints than me. That's fine. Whatever. He can talk about whatever he wants. He's still a good actor. He's fun. I like him. So
I like plenty of actors that don't agree or disagree with the shit I believe. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah, I know. But some people are.
I'm not a Scientologist, but I still like some Scientologist actors. So at me, Scientology.
Fight me, Scientology.
Don't find me, Scientology.
Please don't put people in my neighbor's house to watch me now. So
we did just have new people move in. Maybe that's talk shit about them one day.
But yeah, so and as a kid, you eat all of these Christmas movies up, or at least I did. Yeah. Even the really bad ones like The Drummer Boy. God, that movie's fucked. Rankin and Bass, I love you, but that is the worst thing you've ever made.
I just remember I wanted to be a badass elf when the first Santa Claus movie came out, because they made the elves
really awesome.
Really freaking awesome. Like, not like the worker elves, but like the security elves and stuff like that.
Yeah, the special agent ones that come to rescue him from the jail. Those were so cool.
Elves with attitude. and they had
Yes.
like the tinsel that could like cut through the jail cell and jetpacks and stuff. We didn't see any jetpacks in the show. So
No, but there was
yeah,
that we
we'll get
saw
to
that
it.
division. We'll get into that when we get to
Yeah.
But yeah, just Tim Allen alone made these movies so
Hmm.
memorable to not just me, but pretty much everyone. The story's good in itself, but he brought it to life.
Right.
You know,
And I hate the fact that like people would take like if the first movie came out now, because we're starting to see it with the show out again finally again. Like Tim Allen is in something, and people are like, "Well, remember he used to run drugs." I'm like, "Yeah, so."
do you know how many actors? Look at Whoopi Goldberg's history.
Right? Like there's like lots. I mean, half of our actors now are also former hip hop artists. What the fuck do you think they do? Like 50 Cent? Come on. He's in tons of movies now. We're watching him. It's okay.
People have pasts; they're allowed to change.
Yeah.
And that
Some
goes
of them do
beyond
change,
actors.
some of them don't.
No, some of them don't. That's
Yeah.
that's their own problem. But
Dude, I've started listening to this one podcast, and they share a lot of information I don't think they should share, because they're celebrity girls, like
bowel movements.
and they were sharing like information about like who they saw at like this where they the where they go and do like the swingers as a swingers.
Oh, swinger party. Oh,
place.
no, you shouldn't
and
out people.
And they were talking about like, oh yeah, I ran into like Tara Reid or some shit. I'm like,
Well, I mean, who's
I
going to be
just-
shocked by that?
right? But like they do say certain names, but then other names they like refrain from saying, like certain like guys that are like impotent or some shit. Like I'm like,
Oh,
or like they refrain from saying like they'll tell you the story
So,
about a bad
if you were
incident on
there-
set.
if you were there at the
Yeah.
party, you could think about all the guys that were there and think,
Right.
well, I know one of them is now.
Right. Well, no, it's not even a party. They're like clubs. So it's like a continuous thing, like every week. It was weird. Hollywood's weird, man. Like
Holly weird.
they talk about like, having sex in front of other people. They don't go to have sex with other people, but they go because they like to have sex in front of other people. I'm like,
Don't kink shame.
man.
Some
I
people
don't
are
kink
real
shame,
weird.
but I'm just like some of the stories that they tell. I'm just like, you
As I
should probably
make fun
leave
of those
names
people
out of it.
immediately after.
What's that?
As I make fun of those people immediately after saying that. Whatever. Yeah, it's just people share too much.
Yeah. And it's funny because I got into a conversation with someone, and it has to do with like this stuff, the Santa Claus stuff. He was talking on Facebook, I believe it was. Nobody or anything, but he was like sharing behind the scenes stuff from the new show. And somebody was like adding him and being like, "Oh, you shouldn't say that. Didn't you sign an NDA? Blah 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 blah." And I commented back. I was like, "Well, the NDA only restricts from certain things, not your own personal stories, as long as you're not giving away the show. Also, the show is over. It didn't matter at that point, because it was just like a day or so ago, and so shit. Where was I going? Oh yeah. So somebody else came in and started spouting off things about certain actors, like in their personal lives. And I was like, you don't have the right to do that. Like, that's their own personal business. Just because you happen to have seen it doesn't, you can tell about the incident, but don't say the actor's name. I've always been very good about not saying specific people's names when I do tell stories of incidences I've seen on sets or, out in the real world or something like that. Like the other week, I refrained from saying my Seth Rogen thing because it wasn't my story to tell. So, Although Tivis would be like, ugh, I want to hear the shit. Give me the grease
Rogan.
or the whatever. I don't fucking know.
Can I
grease.
say I'm sad right now because I decided to find out if there is a bowel movement podcast. There's 2.
Uh-huh. Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Would you wait Canadian there? Oh yeah. All right, let's get back to the movie.
About some stuff like that. Anyways, yeah, so let's go back to the movie. So the Santa Claus, the elves were awesome, dude. As a kid, I always wanted to be an elf with attitude.
Oh yeah, I loved tech. Like,
yeah,
that's why I love Jurassic Park 2. Is that fucking trailer they have? That literally that is the main reason I love that movie. And so to see, like, you got the North Pole and they got all these like equipment and stuff. It's real. Like, it was cool as a kid. Especially awesome. This movie came out just after I turned 4, so
yeah,
I was real young and impressionable.
Okay, I'm gonna make sure Babu Frick holds the Santa Claus movies for me. Yeah, no, this movie it hit when I was a kid. Like I'm sure I watched this movie way too much, even when it wasn't, Christmas time after it was released and stuff. Because we didn't get another Tim Allen Santa Claus film
for a long time.
What, 7, 8 years after that? 2002 is when the second one came out.
Yeah, we got
before we
3 Home Alone movies before the next one came out.
Yeah, before we jump to that though, were there any big moments in the movie that like stuck out to you as a kid or stuck out to you still as an adult when you rewatch
the snow globes? The importance that snow globes have in this series, like, it can't be undercut. Like, I love the fact that that's something that continues to come back, and we'll get to it again later when we get to the show. But like the fact that this movie ends with his kid having it, so he can call him,
whenever he wants.
Yeah.
Oh, so I loved Bernard's outfit in the original. I mean, he wears the same thing in all of them, honestly. The head elf, Bernard. He reminded me of like an elf version of Rufio from Hook.
Yeah.
So I was always like, yes, that's awesome.
He does.
And I always, like, as an adult rewatching this, I'm always was like thinking, I was like, I wonder how they planned on keeping the kids, like the main character kids, young for so long. And, you see it play out in the movies and stuff as how they do it or what they do. So it's pretty cool. Go on.
Oh, no, finish your thought and then I'll. Because this is a little trivia. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you know that the role of Scott Calvin was originally written for Bill Murray?
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, Bill Murray turned it down saying it wasn't his type of humor.
No, yeah, it definitely isn't. No, that would have been horrible. This movie would have ended with one. I'm sure this was probably around the same time he went and did Groundhog's Day then, right? Same year?
Yeah. Probably. I'm not too sure, but yeah.
About a year before, yeah.
About a year before, okay. Did you
Yeah, 93. Go on.
I was reading the trivia here, and that, remember the scene where somebody gives him a phone number that says 1-800-SPANK-ME?
In the first movie?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, because it's been deleted from the when they first put it on DVD since.
So it's on VHS.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it because I have the VHS of the original film. So I have many copies of the VHS of the original film if people want one.
And apparently the Disney Channel, whenever they aired it, would erase the line, "We're getting the Disney Channel, Merry Christmas." Which, why?
Yeah, that's a free advertisement, I thought.
Yeah.
What about the line? I always remember when I was a kid, anyways, I remember like Santa hitting on the girl, like, ooh, very nice. In your dreams, sleigh boy.
Oh God! So the phone number when it was aired on TV changed from
Uh-huh.
1-800 Spank Me to 1-800-Pound.
Oh, jeez.
How is that better,
That's
TV?
not better. I guess. I don't. Maybe. I don't know.
Uh,
Um. So going back to the all right. Let's the first film. When you watch this as an adult now, like with the movies and stuff that come out, it would have been so easy for them to have made going into the second one, going into the third one. They could have so easily have copped out and been like, "Oh yeah, this was all a dream." Literally, it's all a dream because as we find out, his boss from the first movie, or the main manager guy, becomes Father Time in Santa Claus 2 and 3. I'm like, this could be some like Wizard of Oz bullshit. Like if they really wanted to have copped out that way. And I'm glad they never did. I'm very glad they never did that. So what are your thoughts on something like that if they would have done that? Would you have hated it? I would have hated it.
I mean, I don't know.
That's all a
Tim
dream?
Allen is such a what's that?
That was all a dream? You wouldn't have hated that?
Yeah, I always hate those kinds of endings, but the fact that again, I just have such a soft spot for Tim Allen. It's so hard for me to dislike
Yeah.
anything that he does.
Christmas with the Cranks.
Yeah,
It's a good one too.
like I that's a really hard question because normally my answer would be 100%. Yeah, no, fuck off.
Right.
Uh,
All right, so we'll leave that up in the air.
yeah,
Do you want to move on to the second film?
yeah, sure.
All right, we're gonna try and blast through the films real quick, guys, because the show was a longer, newer thing that
Yeah.
everyone would probably want to talk about. So Santa Claus 2
Is that not the
from
poster you remember?
2002. That's
Oh, okay. I'll go to the normal one then.
I don't remember that poster at all.
Neither do I. I just saw it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one it was interesting. The fact that I love that this movie specifically gets touched on a lot in the TV show.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll probably talk a bit more about it once we get to that. But him finding his own, being told he needs a wife basically,
Yeah.
and he's got a month.
The second clause
Talk about
and
speed
the Santa
dating.
clause is the Mrs. Claus.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
So
And this one, Bernard is in this one still too. So we have Bernard.
Yep. And this is where we get the toy Santa with his robot minions taking over.
Yeah.
Where
his,
every
guys.
kid is naughty.
Yeah. They're all gonna get coal in their for their gifts. That's it. That's his basic thing. And then
Basically, this is the movie that Futurama ripped off, or did this rip off Futurama? Which came first? Did Santa appear in Futurama before 2002?
I don't think so. I'm not sure. This is also where we get introduced to our future head elf, Curtis, shows up in this one.
Holy shit. He was in season 2, episode 4, 1999. So yeah, that came first.
Yeah, makes sense. Disney's not very great at. Never mind. Another rabbit hole we don't need to go down to this day.
I like that they kept
I honestly what. Oh, go on.
I was gonna say I just like that they kept the actor of the kid and they keep him for everything. And that's something that a lot of things don't do.
Yeah. Charlie gets to remain. I think it worked too because they did wait so long that he was actually able to age up to the appropriate age for this film as well. So it made sense, and then it also made sense with the story to, do that. And I think that might be a Tim Allen thing. Maybe he wanted to make sure that it was always the same kid. After working on, Home Improvement with kids for so long, because I don't recall them ever changing the kids out. because when JTT wanted to leave, they didn't recast him. They just wrote him out of the show appropriately. Jonathan Taylor Thomas, for people who don't know that.
Yeah.
So they wrote him out of the show, going off to, it wasn't college. It was like a missionary thing, right? He was going like overseas.
It's been
or some
so
shit.
long since I've seen the later seasons of that show.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
I think that's what it was. It was either that or college, one of the two. But he did come back before the show ended as well. So, but they never changed him or Mark, Randy, or what was the other name for the brother?
Oh God.
Shit. Zachary Ty Bryan played him, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember his name.
Brad,
I'm good.
Randy, and Mark.
Brad, Randy, and Mark. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, one of them is in jail.
Is it Zachary Ty Bryan or the little one, the young one?
I don't
know. The young one.
Oh no, it's the older one.
Zachary Ty Bryan, really?
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
He was in Too Fast, Too Furious. He was in Tokyo Drift at the very beginning. The Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. It's gotta be
Zachary Ty Bryan. Yep.
Really? He's in jail for what? Did he rape somebody?
No, assault.
Assault.
It sounds like he got into a fist fight.
Okay. All right. As long as it wasn't something like, I could deal with a fist fight.
Yeah. But yeah, they keep all the main cast, but of course the elves get replaced, except for Bernard in this one. This was the last time we see Bernard for a while.
Yeah. And Judy, was Judy the same in this one? No, Judy was changed.
No, too. All of the elves
all
got
the elves
replaced.
were changed, except for Bernard, the head elf, and then you brought in Curtis to set him up.
Yep, Curtis.
Yeah. So, who is played by? Oh, he was in
That's someone I wish we would have got in the show. I could go ahead and say that now. Curtis was not in the show, and that sucks.
No, that's because he's dead.
Is it really?
No, I'm just You would have felt like shit though, huh?
Yeah, I didn't know.
No, he's still around, dude. And for people who don't know who Curtis, the actor, he also played in that Cat in the Hat film back in the day, the live action one. But he was also the younger version of Bruce Willis in The Kid. That's where I always remember him from. So, besides the Santa Claus films.
So, little casting trivia for this one. Kristen Davis was considered for the role of Carol.
I like Elizabeth Mitchell though. She was. I thought she did a great job of portraying the crude, rude, like bitchy character at the time that she needed to, or like to portray that she was just a cold-hearted, as most people would say nowadays, Karen. At the beginning of the film, but then we get to eventually get to get to know
she's got her guard up basically, right. And as we get to know her,
maybe that should be a lesson to everybody out there calling people Karen. Ooh, get to know them.
No, just don't make a scene and annoy the hell out of any employees at any place. Don't be that person, Karen.
Yes, but Elizabeth Mitchell is. I found her to be great in the. I think she played in one of the Purge movies. I think it was like Purge Election Year or some shit like that. Yeah. So, getting to see her in this was kind of cool.
Yeah, it is. What this is? This is the first appearance of the holiday committee, the committee, the meeting, right? Where
so we get the Easter
Peter
Bunny
Boyle returns as Father Time.
Yeah.
Who was originally his boss in the first film, if anyone had forgotten.
Rest in peace.
Yes. Fantastic.
Also the father of Raymond, and everybody loves Raymond that's where the majority of people are going to know him from, especially if you've never seen Santa Claus films.
He had a great back when Mind Dementia. I know everyone had forgotten that show existed because they have buried it beyond belief now, but he would always have him come on there to do something, and they had something pre-recorded after his passing and had him. They played it in honor of him,
Oh, that's
so
cool.
that was cool.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember when this film came out. This is 2002. So when was Jungle to Jungle? Or not Jungle to Jungle, sorry. Yeah, Jungle to Jungle. When was that?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Can we get a sequel to that also, Disney and Tim Allen?
I mean, they did have a sequel.
With
Did it?
Tim Allen, though?
Yeah, all right. Oh, nope, they didn't do a sequel. It was met with very negative reviews. It was 1997.
Oh, 97. Okay, so it was before this. It was in between.
Yep.
All right.
I like that movie. Why did people hate it?
It was like a fun movie.
It was.
Yeah.
People are stupid.
It was almost like what was that Adam Sandler one? Big Daddy. Just not as like
Kinda. I felt like it was very similar to Brendan Fraser's Tarzan.
raunchy. Okay. That Tarzan was very what's the word?
Kitty?
Kitty, yeah. More comical and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brendan Fraser is so good in Tarzan. They should make him a Tarzan again.
Well, we got his whale coming up. It's not exactly a film I'm interested in seeing, but I'm sure a lot of people are gonna love it.
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I've heard good stuff from my reviewer guys. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Anyways, so moving forward, Santa Claus 2. So in this film, we basically get him. He has to go and find a date. He has to find the girl. Dude, remember the chick from? I think it was. I don't remember her name. I want to say she was from SNL. Remember the Santa Claus girl who she was obsessed with Santa? That he dated in like the one date.
I'm sure if I saw the clip, it would come back to me.
She's the girl that would she did the movie with Will Ferrell, Superstar, and she smelled her armpit. She would do that.
Oh.
I don't remember her name. But she was in this film, and she was like the super crazed Santa fan thing. I'm sorry, I watch these movies every year, so yeah, that scene was awesome because she did this like weird, crazy Santa like dance and sing number in the restaurant, and then he was just like looked shocked, and I'm like kind of like thinking now after watching the show, I'm like he totally would have been into that shit. And that girl would have loved to be Mrs. Claus. She was like the crazy cat lady, but with Santa.
Yeah.
But yeah, he ends up getting with Carol. He does a really cool Christmas party thing for the principals and teachers. He gets them all excited and stuff because it just looked like a dead party, and this was before everybody had cell phones, so they didn't have any cell phones and stuff in there that they were like all looking on social media or stuff like that. So it's just they were all just standing around doing nothing, and he did the whole bag of presents, which was really cool.
Yeah, I like the whole aspect of when he's looking for his wife, he has a limited amount of power he still has access to, but if he uses too much,
it goes away. He has a meter for it. Yeah. There's every movie except for the first one, he's always losing power. It's like everything he always is losing power. The first one,
in the first one, he didn't want it.
Yeah. He didn't want it. He just wanted to get rid of, like, he wanted to be skinny.
It's like
the beard gone.
It is a very thematic thing with this character is gaining and then losing and
every every addition to the film, you get Tim Allen as Tim Allen, and then you get Tim Allen as Santa. So there's always some point in the movie or show or whatever where he is out of the Santa costume and stuff, which is kind of cool. I wonder if they also did that to cheapen up on the makeup. Although in the Santa Claus 2 here, he's out of the costume most of the movie, but then he also has to play in the costume for the robot.
Yeah.
So he's doubling it up there. But any specific spots in this one that hit you, man? I know in 2002 we were a lot old. Well, I was a little older. I don't know how old you were in there. But,
I was like 11, 12.
Yeah. I was, yeah, in high school.
So the only thing that really stuck out to me is the whole Charlie is pissed at him because, you know, he's now busy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, that's an interesting aspect. Even at that age, for some reason, that stuck out to me. Like, yeah, of course, you know, he's like, because in the first one, Charlie loves Christmas. He's all for Christmas. And then, you know, Christmas is what took his dad away. So it was an interesting little subplot.
Well, he was still for Christmas. It was the principle that he was calling the anti-Christmas, like the Hitler of Christmas.
Well, no, remember he got in trouble because he was spray painting a tree and then doing the, like, cross it out, like, down with Christmas.
Yeah, because he was making it as her saying that. She was anti-Christmas. Yeah.
I'm not so sure about that.
Because she wouldn't want any of the decorations up or anything like that in the school. That's what it was. I hate Christmas, and it was supposed to be her saying it. Yeah. That's what it was, dude.
Maybe. I haven't watched it yet this year,
because
so
the whole
we're going to
thing
get
was,
to it this weekend.
The whole thing was Tim Allen or Scott Calvin was trying to get her to appreciate Christmas and like Christmas again and stuff like that. And she just didn't see the point and stuff.
Yeah.
And both of these episodes, or both of these movies, especially this one too, you get more of his ex-wife and her new husband as well. In the first one, you don't really get them a whole lot. They're just trying to kind of take Charlie away from him. In this one, they're a little bit more understanding. They have a daughter of their own, and they're trying to help him get find a wife. Or whatever.
Is this the last time we see them? I can't remember.
No,
if
they're in the third
one.
one too.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll get to that part.
I wish I would have had the time to get to these before now, but
oh no, you're fine.
I've seen these so many times. I remember the main beats.
I haven't watched them this year yet either. We actually watched the show instead of these in the time, so we'll watch these leading up to Christmas though, like we always do.
Oh yeah.
For this coming week. But yeah, like any spots that hit you at all besides the kid being angry and stuff.
Pretty much that, you know. Yeah. We hit on everything else.
Yeah. Okay. What did you think about the addition of the half sister to Charlie, which would have been I think it was Lucy. Is her name?
You
remember
Lucy?
Lucy?
It's whatever. Okay. She doesn't really have a main role, I don't think. So
in this one, yeah, I think it's just more so to set her up as a character. She spends a lot of time with Comet and everything. And then we find out that he loses his magic because he used it all up on the party.
Yeah.
And stuff. Or not the party, but the sleigh. No, it was the party. It was the party he used it all.
Yeah, I think the party was that because the sleigh was where he used a ton of it. And he's like, yeah, all right, I'm going to have to use the last of it here.
And then he finds out that he can't get back to or he finds out what's going on at
the very Pole. Last of it went to making that doll that Carol really wanted.
Yeah. And then he finds out the robot is taking over the North Pole, kind of like destroying Christmas, as is a theme everywhere.
Yeah.
And then we find out Comet ate all of the chocolate candies, so he can't get up. Thank goodness he's not a dog, otherwise he'd be dead.
Yes.
And then so they have to do the whole thing as they set up previously in the beginning with the other people. We have the Toothinator or whatever they want. I forget what his exact name was. He wanted to be called the Tooth Fairy. Um, and they have to pull out a tooth from Charlie. Or no, it's Scott. Scott loses a tooth. He gets a tooth taken out. Or tries to. That's what it is. He tries to get a tooth taken out, and they can't get it. And then Lucy, has the tooth taken out. That's what the setup was with her in this film. Her tooth fell out, and they waited for the Tooth Fairy, and they get back to the North Pole that way. And then everything goes as the plan, and then she comes back to the North Pole with Charlie and all that fun shit.
Oh, I forgot to mention in the first movie, this whole thing started because he scared a guy into falling off his roof and dying.
Yeah. And he's like, "Hey, you!" And the guy slips and falls right off the roof. And that's how he takes a Santa suit.
Yeah, that was the running joke for years, and they even play it up a lot in this next movie.
In the Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause, with
2006.
Jack Frost, Martin
now,
Short.
I know that,
Martin Short and Tim Allen, dude. Martin Short and anybody is gonna be a good time.
Oh, dude, we have been loving him in Only Murders in the Building.
I haven't watched that.
You really should. It's so good.
Have you ever watched him in Clifford?
Yes.
Fucking awesome film, people. Go watch that film.
Shockingly good.
What's the guy's name? It's the dad from Beethoven, right? Yes, it's Charles Grodin.
Okay.
Yeah, he plays the uncle, or I forget what he is to Martin Short. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I loved that movie as a kid. Dinosaur World. Come on now. You guys gotta go and watch Clifford. When was that movie? It was an early one because
not the newer one.
Young. No. It was just called Clifford. It was Martin Short, Charles Grodin from 1994. So it came out the first time the first Santa Claus movie came out. Awesome. All right, so the Escape Clause. Set this movie up, Tivis. Let's go.
Jack Frost wants more respect. Finds out that he could steal Santa's coat. Does so. Santa wants the coat back. They go back. They kill the guy again. Steal the coat back. There's the movie.
Poor Santa gets killed like 3 times in this film.
He does. That raises some interesting questions come the TV show, but we'll get into it.
So this one sets up. This is where Lucy comes into play a lot more. She's a main character in this.
We also get a new reindeer, which is
Chet.
Don't care for him at all.
You get Chet. Yeah, Chet is the new reindeer for this film. He's like a reindeer in training, or whatever they can call him. Oh, geez.
Yeah, and this one came out shortly before Peter Boyle passed away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This one, they set it up because she's about to have Mrs. Claus.
Or shortly after. This came out around Christmas time, didn't it? It would have been after.
Yeah. But Mrs. Claus is about to have a baby because she doesn't have a real name. So Miss Claus is about to have a baby. and so she wants like friends and family and stuff to be around her. So he gets the idea of bringing her parents to the North Pole, thus using the magic dust from the Sandman to bring them here, who is also Worf, by the way, in Star Trek. And that's how they get the parents there. But who else wants to tag along? Because Lucy wanted to come, and Charlie was going on some ski resort vacation thing or something, snowboarding. That's what it was. And Lucy wanted to come, and they wanted to tag along because she can't go to the North Pole without her parents. And they use the whole thing. Well, Charlie's gone to the North Pole. Don't you think it's a little like they do the psychology thing on Scott? And they're like, don't you think it's a little like shouldn't she be able to go to the North Pole too? And he's like, oh, fine. And he's like, and don't you think her parents should go too? She needs supervision. They like con him into like bringing all of them to the North Pole, which is cool because then Carol, Mrs. Claus, the unnamed woman, needs to or gets to have tall people to hang around with and stuff. So and then yeah, but that's what also sparks her parents being there is also what sparks him being so depressed. On top of what Jack Frost is doing, he's kind of like sabotaging the entire thing with his Frost abilities, freezing the everything, you know, all that.
Yeah.
You're going.
Well, no, keep going with the summary.
Dude, I can like literally beat for beat this movie if you want me to, but I won't. So
I loved Jack Frost's Santa's look. First off,
yes,
I thought that was really an interesting way to go about it.
Yeah.
Like a combination of his ice and the Santa powers.
And I love how they like just gave him frosted tips, like literal frosted tips. I was like, that's awesome. You got to see his iconic suit, didn't you? Recently.
Yes, yeah. At the Henry Ford Museum, we went up there and we saw what was it? I know that the Scott Calvin Santa Claus suit was there, but also Jack Frost's suit. And so if you're near the Michigan area, you have until the 1st of next year to go see it, and then it goes to the next location, wherever that is.
Right. It's the traveling exhibit.
Yeah.
Kind of like the mummies and stuff.
I did not expect that to be there. So as we're walking around, you know, I'm like, okay, you know, Beauty and the Beast, what's her name's dress.
So it's
okay,
like
cool.
all the Disney stuff.
Oh my God, that's Tim Allen's suit.
It was all Disney stuff, right? Is it a Disney exhibit?
Yeah.
Okay. What is it called? Do you know what the touring exhibit is or no?
Give me a second here.
You went to it and you don't even know what it's called, man.
My wife wanted to go see it.
And he was like, awesome, the Santa Claus.
Yeah.
You should put the coat on. You could have been Santa.
They would have kicked my ass. Heroes and Villains, the Art of the Disney Costume.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, there you go, people. Go check that out. Google that. Find out when it's going to be in your area, because that would be an awesome exhibit to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just for those two costumes alone.
Yeah. They also had the Hocus Pocus costumes and it's a lot of stuff from Alice in Wonderland. The costume for Time was pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So first movie. Yeah, it was cool. First movie without Bernard, but did you know this has a novelization where Bernard is still in it?
No.
I didn't either, but I do now.
Interesting. So this first one without Bernard, so therefore Curtis is now head elf, and this is where he like kind of slips up about the escape clause. Like he tells about the escape clause. Oh, it was to Jack Frost. That's who he slips up to. He's like, I know everything about you. You grab the globe and you say, I wish I was never Santa Claus and blah, blah, blah. And
the globe is back.
yeah. The globes are there. The globe was in the second movie as well. He gave one to Lucy as well to show everything. He gave, I think Charlie had one still. Oh no, Charlie was kind of it's this movie where Charlie was out of it. But yeah, eventually Jack Frost basically gets Santa Claus to end up screwing up and saying, I wish I was never Santa Claus, by gifting him his special Santa globe. And he grabs it and says those words at the same time. And then thus they both are teleported back to time where Scott Calvin is about to put the code on, but he does not. Instead, Jack Frost does. And then they get teleported back out to the future again. This is like decades, and this is going to come into play when we talk about the new show. This is like 2 decades or a decade and a half of technically Jack Frost being Santa Claus. And
but he doesn't have a wife. Why?
We don't know that. We don't know if he's there or not. She's there or not.
Well, I guess that's true.
And Jack Frost has thus opened up the North Pole. Scott Calvin is a relentless billionaire bum guy who makes everybody work on Christmas. Businessman, and everybody hates him in his family. His son hates him. His ex-wife hates him. His ex-wife and her husband are divorced now, and Lucy and her dad are in the North Pole visiting because the North Pole is opened up like Disney World. And Scott knows he has to go back to the North Pole. And now they have flights that go directly into the North Pole. So, cool, I guess.
Yeah. You know who plays Lucy, don't you?
No. Who?
Lillian Mummy, who you may recognize as the daughter of Bill Mummy or Mummy or whatever. Will Robinson.
Oh, really?
Tie that into our Munsters talk because he was in Munsters.
Nice. Okay.
He was going... he wasn't going to be Eddie. That was someone else.
Yeah. That's actually... It makes sense now when you look at their faces as kids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, I could see that. Anyways, Scott Galvin goes to the freaking thing. He ends up getting Lucy. He talks Lucy into this girl that he barely knows. This little girl that he barely knows. He talks her into going somewhere without her dad and to run away, basically, to go get a globe. And they end up tricking Frost into saying the same thing, except this time it's on a recording. And then they go back, and Scott gets the coats, and then they go back to the normal time, and then Scott hands up things and runs off and goes and saves the day. And Jack Frost mutters, "Well, that didn't go as I planned." And then we find out that her parents are frozen because Jack Frost froze her parents.
Because he's an asshole.
Only way to unfreeze her parents is to thaw himself out, and he will not do that. So she gives him a big old hug and thaws him out, thus thawing her parents out, thus saving Christmas. And then the baby's born. And then the end, because Christmas is saved. Once again.
Yeah.
After Scott learns a valuable lesson about family. And the joys of Christmas. Anyways. All right. So now we are on to, unless you have anything else to say. Do you have anything else to say about this?
No, I know that this one it's not as liked as the other two. And
okay.
I understand it, but it's still enjoyable. I know a lot of people don't watch this one and stop it too. But I do all three because why not? They're just as enjoyable.
I think that as soon as they started bringing in all these other character things, like those ones for the second and third one, I was like, oh, okay, I guess, but I still stuck with them, and I've grown to love them a lot more than when they first came out, for sure. And it's cool because they all play into this new thing that we got this year, 2022's the Santa Clauses. On Disney Plus, everybody. Definitely go check this out before you listen to us talk. It's 8 episodes, right? Or 6?
6 episodes.
6 episodes.
Fantastic. They're only 29 minutes a piece, so real quick watch.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so let's get into this. Yes. I'm excited.
Santa Clauses.
16 years after the last film. 28 years since he took on the role of Santa.
Yeah.
We start with him. First episode, he's got magic problems. His powers are starting to short out. He's becoming
impotent.
I was going to say he's starting to doubt himself. And even the first episode ends with him falling off a roof. But His new best friend elf. What the hell was his
Noel.
name? Noel.
Noel. Yeah.
Was it Noel?
Noel. Noel. Noel.
Noel. Whatever. Uh, he starts freaking out because that's how the last Santa died, and the whole episode, you I'm just gonna call him Scott. He's talking to the new elf bean counter. I don't
Mhm.
know her name, but that the kid who played her, she's gonna have one hell of a career. Holy shit! Just really well done. Um, and so I gotta look it up now. He's asking questions. What about the other Santas? We don't talk about that. Okay,
Oh, for Betty, it's Matilda Lawler.
okay, yeah, that was like she really impressed me. Like I look forward to her career. Uh,
She's already in a few things, so
she's still young though,
yeah.
so it's only gonna like I have a feeling she's gonna be someone we're talking about for many years. Um, yeah, so this first episode, it starts with a bang. But before we get into the rest of the show, here's some stuff from Tim Allen, like an
Okay.
actual direct quote from him. It was birthed as an idea. I'm sure originally from the business side to fill Disney Plus. But it wasn't going to happen on my side unless it made some sort of sense and paid homage. Listen, I'm a sci-fi guy. I like stories that make sense, especially when talking about the mystical realm. And so I said, we opened up doors in the Santa Claus that no one ever answered. And all my sci-fi people online forever asked, what happened to the original Santa? What was on the roof? Or he was on the roof, slipped and died. What happened? How come the other elves never mentioned it? Will we answer that? And what about Mrs. Claus, or who Mrs. Claus really is?
Mhm.
And we'll answer the lineage of Santa Claus, where he's from. It is a Christian holiday, so I kept telling him, you got to at least deal with it. You don't have to
Mhm.
sing trumpets with it. Just deal with it and let's move on.
Yeah.
This is a holiday, and it's not about druids or aliens, it's about magic. And the magic came from somebody out of nowhere, uh, deciding to give people something they did to have. It's about giving, and it's simply that. Getting is the other side of giving, and all of that is dealt with. And can I say thank you, Tim? Because
Mhm.
I don't know if this show would have been as good if you weren't that diligent. Because
Yeah.
this show has connections to every movie. It's not just its own thing. Like it is a direct continuation and
Oh
a
yeah.
really, really well done one. I mean, they talk about the puppets in the bedroom and how they had to get rid of them because that's
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah.
Just
It was a
oh
miracle that we even had kids.
yeah.
um and yeah, no, you're 100% right, and I'm glad that he stuck around and hopefully, did what he did to get his vision in here, because otherwise this could have been really bad. This could have been very bad.
Oh yeah.
um and I do like the little hints that they still give to the Christian part of it, because Christmas
Mhm.
is a Christian
Christian based.
holiday.
Yeah.
It's Christian based. So in whatever way you want to look at it, there's
Yeah.
some type of Christian base to it. So the fact
Well,
that they
I
were
guess the
able,
winter solstice, which they actually do touch on in this.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. But they talk about that, they lightly too. They don't shove anything down your throat with
no,
any
but
aspect of it.
it's
And
touched on, and that is so
yeah,
appreciated.
because many like movies that deal with Santa really don't do that at
Mhm.
all. And the fact that they touch on every single like little thing in the movies, the first three movies I should say, is crazy. It's awesome. And they ask questions that even the audience members ask, like, what about the original Mrs. Claus? Where the fuck did she go? Like, come
Yeah,
on.
that's a running thing with Carol. And
Yeah.
there's a line that I don't like. It's
Mhm.
like, Mrs. Claus, she's never had a name. Bullshit. 1970. Rankin and Bass gave her a name, Jessica. Do
For
not
one
ignore it just because it's not Disney. It
not
is a
Disney.
staple of the holiday season.
Oh man. But just like people still call him Scott, you know. I think they meant like Santa Claus as in like they Saint Nick, right? So but you never hear them call him Saint Nick in this. It's just always Santa.
No.
So
But we do
she's Miss
meet
Santa.
Saint
So
Nick at one point.
is Santa there is Santa the last name? Then if she's just Mrs. Oh no, Claus. They call her Miss Claus, right?
Yeah, the Claus is the last. How old are you?
I was getting confused with my own words for a second. Yeah, Claus. They call her Mrs. Claus, and he's Mr. Claus, but he's Santa, and she is Sandy Claus.
Yep. We're also introduced to his two children, Cal and Sandra.
Yeah.
Poor Cal.
Oh boy. Yeah. I'm interested to see more of these. Spoilers for the end of this show. Not the
We could
the
get
movie.
more.
We're getting more. We are getting more.
Did they announce that?
They announced a renewal for season 2. When that's coming, probably next Christmas.
It'll be worth it whenever it gets here.
Or the Christmas
let
after,
Tim
who
and them
knows?
hammer out the details. Let's go.
Right. I just hope that with season 2 coming, or at least being announced, even though it was announced doesn't necessarily mean we'll even get it, because shit happens. Look at Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
But even though things are announced doesn't necessarily mean we'll get it, but I do hope that Tim sticks around for it, that he helps, gauge where this should go and where it should end. And I do know he's getting older, and if he's ready to hang up the mantle finally, I'm interested to see what his choice would be for doing so.
Yeah.
I don't want it to be a studio being like, yeah, no, we're not doing this, because he could easily be like, oh yeah, there's never going to be another Santa Claus but me in this franchise, kind of like what's his face is doing with Indiana Jones, Harrison Ford. He's like, oh, there's no more Indiana Jones once I'm dead. I'm like, yeah, no, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, they just reiterated it this week. I'm like, yeah, that's funny.
Okay, so first of all, there was a young Indiana Jones. Just saying that there was that,
Yeah.
There's many other people who played Indy besides Harrison Ford. So yeah. Anyways.
This first episode, it sets up so much. We meet all the new elves, of course. The new head elf, is it Betty? I think Betty is the head elf now.
Yeah.
Her husband Noel, who is Santa's creepily close best friend, one-sided.
Yeah.
We meet his son, Cal, or Buddy, whatever one you want to call him, who is into the most mundane, because they grew up in the North Pole, so they don't know what life is normally like, and they get into this over the course of many episodes, but he likes the mundane things that people do in virtual reality. His daughter, who is kind of a nervous wreck a bit. She's got a lot of anxiety problems that are dealt with, kind of. And Mrs. Claus, who is really tired of just being Mrs. Claus. And I actually feel the worst for her at the end of this show. We also meet the last member of the Elves with Attitude, who is a grizzled, veteran, addicted to hot chocolate.
And a kind of as we see as the show progresses, he's kind of paranoid.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite characters. And we also get to meet someone who will
I
come into
fucking
play.
thought so. Sorry.
Okay,
The daughter is Tim Allen's daughter in real life.
is it really? That's awesome.
I was like, because I looked on IMDb earlier, I was like, she doesn't have anything, but her name is Elizabeth Allen Dick. You know, Allen.
Yeah,
It didn't put that together, but that's his real life daughter. That's awesome.
that is great, and she was
This
great
is
in this.
That's her only thing. Her only
Why
acting
didn't they
credit.
bring her in The Last Man Standing when they were kept losing daughters? But I guess she wasn't old enough. Uh,
Yeah, this is her only acting credit. That's it.
well, I
That's
look forward to
crazy.
seeing more of her. What was I say? Oh,
Come on, she's got to take over then, right? Like, I mean,
yeah, yeah. That's one of the things. There's a lot of plot points of, and then we'll get into that once we get to episode 2. But who is going to
Yeah.
take over?
Yeah.
So yeah, we meet the last elf with attitude, and we hear about his ex, the Witch of the Woods, who we get to meet later on.
Yeah.
Is there anything in this that stood out to you? Like,
For this one here, I did write a note down for the first episode. Let me get to it real quick. I'm sorry. Santa Claus episode 1, 6 minutes in, I fucking tear up because they brought Sarah back from the first movie.
the little girl who's kept talking to him and was, I believe, the first one to sit on his lap, right? Because he was sitting in the park still denying that he's Santa Claus, and she came over and told him what she wanted for Christmas. She was the first kid.
I don't think that was the same girl. That was not the same girl.
I'm pretty sure it is, because he tells her, and then at the end we see her opening up the gift that she told him.
Maybe, but I know that in the first movie, he's the first or second house he stops at before he's Fat Santa. When he's still Scott Calvin.
Oh yeah, because
I'm taking a diet.
No,
I'm
that's
lactose intolerant.
Yeah, that's why she gives him he's like,
Yeah.
oh, your cookies are sour.
Yeah. So that's the thing. That's the person.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, it's not the same actress, which would have been really cool. I don't know if that girl still acts or if she's still with us or what. Because she would have been around probably pushing 40 now. Yeah, 28. Well, late 30s, early 40s, maybe, depending on how old she was in the movie, the original movie. And that was really cool to see, though, just that. And they did the flashback to the scenes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
They really held on with the flashbacks for like the first 3 episodes, which was really cool to remind you of these incidences or why these characters are anything, which was awesome. And that first one with Sarah, that got me. I was like, oh, fuck you guys. Like, I was just like tearing up. I was like, oh man, come on. Like the first episode, not even 10 minutes in.
Oh yeah. And this version is played by Casey Wilson, who I know from Happy Endings, if anyone has seen that show.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but the only 2 notes I wrote down have to do with hard things like that. So, because the rest of it is just like, okay, I was just really into it. I didn't want to take.
Yeah, they really set up the emotional stuff like immediate.
Yeah,
and it was great.
And this is where we find out his magic is really starting to die out. He has to walk out the door. She's scared the shit of him because she's like thinking there's someone breaking in. She doesn't remember him at all. And I don't feel that he used the dust on her the first time because she didn't know about any of that stuff.
Yeah, I think as you just get older, you slowly forget. The original Sarah was played by Carrie Barrett, and that was her only acting credit, and she also went uncredited in the movie.
Oh, that's sad. That's sad.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully she's getting some attention now, Carrie. Bennett. Is that the
Yeah.
last name?
We also get introduced to
And she's
another main
working
player.
I hope she's not like working at like a BP or something like that.
I hope not. Something better.
Anyways,
Yeah, we
right.
also get introduced to
not that working at a gas station is wrong, people. I'm just saying, like,
excuse me.
she's a big part of my childhood.
Well, I mean, anytime you're working with the people, it sucks, and I feel bad for you. Unless you really love it, in which case, good for you. But we get introduced to Simon and his daughter, Grace, who they freak out because they think they're getting robbed. Santa is on the roof, and they're like, "Oh God!"
Yeah. Played by who? Do you remember his name?
No.
Cal Penn.
Yes.
Cal Penn. Yeah. Cal Penn.
There it is. It's right there.
Who's he was actually part of the, did he work for the government at some point when Obama was president? I thought he was like,
maybe.
I think he did. I'd have to double check that, but my computer's being fritzy today. But yeah, I believe he worked with the Obamas and stuff when they were in the presidency. Or he was
an advocate for their campaign. He was position of associate director of the White House Public Engagement and intergovernmental affairs. That is a word.
Yep. See, people, anybody out there talking shit about this is why I wanted to bring this up too.
He was on the committee on the arts and humanities.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to bring this up because he did work with like the Obamas, and everyone knows where Tim Allen stands, and these guys were able to work together. Yeah, so
Tim Allen's not an asshole. That's the thing. That's
not
why people need to get off his back. He doesn't push his stuff. He'll say some crazy stuff that we can all, laugh
agree
at.
Or disagree. I don't really care. Again, I'll say I don't give a shit what anybody thinks.
Yeah, no.
I hate everybody. I hate all of you.
What the hell? You just told me you enjoyed our time.
Yeah. I also lie.
Anyway, getting back to Simon and Grace, they will come into play as we go through this. But we just get a brief introduction of them.
Yeah, he sets himself up as kind of like a weird. Well, it's the second episode they set him up, really. Okay, so
we get introduced to him.
Yeah. Well, we get introduced to him at this one, and the second one they set him up more.
Yeah. So now we're in episode 2. Let's buzz through these. Santa finds out that there's a clause about finding a replacement.
Yeah.
At the very, very bottom that the magnifier can't even read. We find out that Simon he's trying to be the next Amazon because his late wife really loved Christmas. So he wants to give her a vision of people giving gifts to make others happy year round. It's kind of misguided, as we find out. And he creates his own drones, AI controlled drones, which he almost gets a job, but they really destroy that for him by busting through the meeting room window.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Santa's trying to figure out who he wants his replacement to be. So he's like, do I go with Cal, who does not love the sleigh at all? And that doesn't change.
He doesn't like flying at all. Yeah.
No. Or Eddie, because he's like, hey, you want to take the reindeer out for a ride? And he's like, no, I'm going to hang out in my virtual reality. And yeah, so that's pretty much this whole episode is setting up. Santa is going to be replaced. Who will it be? Is there anything in this episode that you recall that stood out to you? Because this one felt more like a setup episode.
This was 100% pure setup. They were setting up, like the guy, like you said, he's trying to be like Amazon meets, Apple.
Santa Claus.
Meets Santa.
Yeah, because in the first episode, when we meet him, he's like looking at the chart. He's like, what is this 12%? It's Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Santa Claus is known globally to the businesses. It's just unnamed.
Right.
I believe we found that out in one of the movies.
I think
I think it
so.
was the third one.
Yeah. Yeah, because there's a big chart about like who's the most popular, whatever.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can't figure out who the 12% is.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the second episode, pure setup for those characters, those two
Episode
characters
1
there.
drawing us back in. Episode 2 getting us ready for this story.
We're back. Episode 1 was 1 year. Episode 2 is a whole nother year later too. By the way,
next Christmas.
The next Christmas, because that's when we see Santa. They freak out and everything. About him falling off the roof. He fell off the roof in this episode.
Yeah.
And then that's when they find out about the new clause. The what is that clause called? They made this I think they made a word up. Did they? The expulsion clause or some shit like that? No, not the expulsion.
I'm trying to find
I don't recall what they called it. But it was basically like, the retirement clause. Why didn't they just call it the retirement clause?
Yeah.
Like, that's what we're calling it. The retirement clause or handing down clause or whatnot.
We get the reintroduction of Charlie in this episode. I forgot about that. He goes and asks him, Charlie's wife thinks that he's a shrimp boat sailor.
Yeah.
And he's like, how would you like to take over my job? And she goes, no, I don't want to live on a shrimp boat. No.
She freaks the hell out. And she's like, nope. You take care of this, but no, we are not doing this. No. Doesn't she yell at him in Spanish too for a second? I don't remember.
I don't remember that, but she definitely keeps yelling at him as she leaves the room.
No. Oh no. Heck no. And,
which is reasonable thinking about that job.
Yeah.
I'm not raising our kids on a shrimp boat.
And I'm very curious, like, if that was because Charlie, the actor, doesn't act anymore or what, because, he just wanted out for a little bit or something. I'm not sure if he does any acting or not anymore, because I have never seen him in anything as an adult. So it was cool to see him, though, reprise the role. I'm glad they didn't recast it for whatever.
I thought when he first answered that door, I thought it was Josh Peck again. And I'm like, this dude is everywhere. But no, it turned out to actually be the same actor who played Charlie in all of the movies.
Yeah, which is awesome. So, he loves that. I mean, Tim Allen probably convinced him to come back just for the cameo or whatnot. And we'll see if we see him in the second season. If they bring a second season, then I'm curious what the heck they're going to do for a second season.
I can't see. I feel like Simon's going to be a big character going up, going forward, even in season 2.
I think they erased his mind.
Well, that doesn't matter.
What do you mean he's going to be a big character? He doesn't remember anything.
I just feel like his story's not done.
I do.
All right. Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
Should we move on to episode 3 then?
Episode 3.
Santa begins looking at potential candidates, including Peyton Manning. While Carol is getting really excited about returning to normal life, Buddy's excited to go check out the post office, and Sandra is freaking out, not wanting to leave, finds out that she can hear reindeer talk to her, and runs to the witch in the forest.
Well, this is also after we have the dude there already. They already brought everybody there.
Oh, yeah, that's what I said. They're doing candidate talks.
Yeah. And the girl goes off with his daughter as well. The little girl.
Oh, yeah. She's showing him around, and they're like, "You left her with Sandra?"
Yeah. So then they run off to the Wobbly Woods, and that's where they find the witch in the woods.
And the Wobbly Woods move. The trees are alive and move around on their own, and people get frozen in ice.
Yeah.
Which
the trees moving around in the woods and stuff, I think that's like a common like mystical thing that people do a lot nowadays, especially in fantasy writing.
Yeah. And we get introduced to what they call her in this, the Belfana, but the folklore
Christmas
Befana. There's
witch.
no L. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Christmas witch. She brings gifts. So we're already getting into the wider Christmas mythology here
Yeah.
in the third episode. We're halfway through the series and we're seeing glimpses of it.
Yeah. And
And-
they run into her, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well, I don't like the word witch. Well, how did you fly your things there on a broom?" He's like, "Exactly." Yeah, that's funny. And then by the end of this episode,
Oh, he
is
hates
there anything
Simon, by
else?
the way. When they first meet, he hates Simon
Yeah, no,
because
he doesn't
Simon
like him.
immediately disregards the no phone rule.
Yeah, yeah, they took photos there and everything. And this is when
I think Mariah Carey is also said to be a candidate, and Scott is just like, yeah.
wow, no, God. All I want for Christmas is you to shut the fuck up.
What were you? I keep interrupting you. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was just gonna skip on to towards the end, anyways. Do you have any other filler before we get to the?
Oh no, that's
hand
kind of what I
passing?
was setting up. You know, he
Okay.
hates Simon, and then
Yeah,
at the
he
end,
hates him, but eventually they get to the point where he picks Simon to be the next coat holder. He hands the coat over to Simon, and I thought this was the coat doing it too when it happened, and I'm glad that it paid off, and it really was. But the coat was stupid heavy for Simon.
oh, the
like,
coat
really
rejected
heavy.
him immediately.
Yeah, it did. And so, and it fell down to the ground. It was acting really heavy, and everyone was like, "What the hell is going on?" Like, they didn't understand. So I was like, "Oh yeah, the coat does not want to be with that guy." Like, and this is before they show Simon as kind of a dick, you know. And not that he's a dick. That it's just like, you know, he had bad intentions and stuff. Because he let his heart and mind take over what
Yeah.
should have been better.
And they set up the Calvins with a house in Chicago,
Yeah.
back where Scott's from.
And then, we got to talk about this scene because
Yeah, it blew up.
yeah, blew up way too much. The people, the elves are doing their dance number. And
Noel
whatnot.
wouldn't let him leave without a goodbye
Yeah.
song.
Yeah. And then they do the whole "I love Santa" on the signs, but it says
It's
they
misspelled.
misspell it, and they 100% Tim Allen's like spelling. Like,
Yeah.
like, all right, and they fix it instantly.
Yeah, well, they scream at first, realizing what they had done.
Yeah, yeah. They screamed about like, ah! Like, it was weird. They're like kitty, like mouse screams almost.
And then the image of that went viral out of context, as
Yeah.
everything always does.
Yeah.
So how could Tim Allen allow this? Because it's low-hanging fruit and he's a comedian.
Right. It's an easy joke. Why not? Also,
I would be shocked if it wasn't his idea.
but I'm just like, do you guys remember some of the jokes from the first Santa Claus? Like,
They kill Santa.
one, they kill Santa. Two, like, he's making like some of these like dirty jokes and stuff. Like, they make some dirty jokes and things like that.
1-800 spank you.
Well, besides that, like, even just him like as Santa going like, good, really good, and you know, the one girl, and then like the mom or his ex-wife in the pajamas and stuff, and he walks out and he's like, usually I sleep butt naked, and like anyways, like they're but he says like a lot of these different jokes and stuff throughout all of the movies that are meant a little bit for the parents. This one I can see why some people would be like, "Ugh," but also at the same time, it's like, I mean, you know, let it go. It's one joke. It lasted for 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like it was a dirty joke with the elves and they were being played by kids, you know. It's, you know. They could have gone a really dark way with some of these things. Oh, they even did that actually. They in the first movie, Judy brings the thing that and Judy thought that Santa was hitting on her. And she's like, I'm sorry, I'm actually seeing somebody.
That's yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot of like fun jokes and stuff. So I'm just get over it.
Yeah.
Get
So
over it, people.
on to chapter
The
4.
show is meant for us anyways, not kids.
I think it's meant to be for all ages, but
This is my show. Damn it. Fuck you guys and your stupid little kids and stuff.
we're being the internet people. Okay.
Hashtag my Santa. Get out
Nothing
of here.
gets made that isn't for me, and if it isn't for me, then it's bad.
At least you know it, Tivis. Come on.
Yeah. So on to chapter 4 then.
Yeah.
All right. So this one, Simon loses the coat immediately, begins shaking up Christmas, saying that he wants to do Christmas year round after finding out about the wormholes and the weird elf who believes in science.
Which we
I love how
forgot to note, he
science.
did see like a wormhole thing in the first episode.
Yes, that's what inspired him. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, the Calvins are acclimating to Chicago. They start school. We now have Calvin, that poor kid. He meets an interesting girl. Sandra stops a horse running and gets invited to be part of a horse jockey group. So they're finding their own place in the world. You know, they're settling down. Scott is finding it really hard. He's like, hey, I get to spend time with the family. Let's play this complicated board game. Carol gets her job back as principal of the local school district. And Scott's just left alone now, where everyone has kind of moved on away from him. And he's just like, well, I don't know what else to do except be Santa. And I'm not even that anymore.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, we got the, it's this one where the elves start disappearing because the magic is, because between chapter 3 and chapter 4, there's supposed to be a lot of time between this and that, like a couple of months, I would assume.
Yeah, because by the time we get to the end, it's like literally like a week before Christmas or something.
Yeah, we're back to Christmas. So between like episode 2 and episode 2 and 6, it's an entire year's worth in that 5 episodes.
Yeah.
So is this the one where Betty gets desperate? Because there's also this globe. We forgot to mention that there's a globe of Christmas spirit, and there's like darkness in the center of it that's spreading, and that's the death of Christmas magic, basically.
Yeah.
And it gets worse every chapter.
It's like the meter of Christmas.
Yes. Is this the one that ends with her saying, I need to contact him?
Yes, she goes to at the very end, she goes back to the Witcher house, or the witch house, the Witcher.
Belfana.
Hashtag rest in peace, Henry Cavill Witcher. The witch's house, and that's when she's like, I need to speak to him.
Yeah.
You know.
And we're like, who's
that's
him?
After she finds out that the coat is there too.
Yeah. No, she walks in and the coat's hanging there. And Belfana's like, yeah, it came to me. So the coat is sentient. Good to know. Becomes a creepy problem later on. We haven't talked about the intro to this series. Can I just say the intro is a little creepy? And why does it have Chet? We never see Chet.
Is it Chet, or is it just supposed to be?
It's clearly the reindeer from the third movie.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I was waiting for Chet to show up.
Nothing.
No.
But we do find out, I believe, actually in the last episode, I skimmed over this. The reindeer fly because they believe they can fly. That's terrifying. If they suddenly stop thinking they can fly, you plummet.
Yeah. All animals can fly if they believe it, is what they say. They said.
That is terrifying how that magic works in this one.
I hope animals watching that show don't believe that and then start to try and fly and jump off of something. What? My animals watch TV, okay? Shut the fuck up.
I'm just going to let people clip that.
They do. My dogs will sit there and literally watch
They don't
the TV
have the
with
cognitive
us.
response.
Oh, bullshit. They don't.
They see bright colors and animals and people, and that's all they notice.
You know, if when they see the animals, they freaking bark as loud as they can.
Yeah, it's just because that's a cognitive limit.
My dog barked at freaking thing. I was like, it's not even an animal. What are you doing?
So anything from chapter 4 that stood out to you that I
Don't
may have skimmed
spoil
over?
no, fuck you. Hold on. Don't spoil people. Their animals are watching the TV that they're watching and they love it. My dogs watch certain things more intently than others. And it's not because of the colors.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's the ball moving in my head. I was like, what the hell is that?
All right, so I'm just going to leave it there.
Fuck you, Tivis.
The ball in his head is moving.
Tivis, not everyone wants your stupid logic, okay?
Anything from chapter 4 that I may have skimmed over that you want to touch on?
Yes, Scott ends up getting a job working for the
Simon's company, isn't it?
basically Amazon's delivery service, and then he gets fired.
Did you feel a kinship there with Scott Calvin?
No. He gets fired though because he gets in a snowball fight and loses basically. Him and Noel. This
and
is
he
where
throws
Noel
his
finds
arm
him.
out.
Yeah.
He no longer has that magic healing.
Yeah, so he's fired now. That's it. And
Noel is living with them now. He runs away.
Yeah.
And he leaves a note for Betty, but Simon rips it up, and that does not come back for any reason, and that's sad. I thought it would.
Well, I mean, but yes, it does, because she thinks that he just left. He just up and left. And then her thinking that he just up and left, she thinks that he disappeared.
Yeah, I suppose. It's the letter itself I wish would have, because we'll get to it.
Well, she automatically states that he never would leave without saying anything, you know.
Yeah.
And he did.
So she's worried that he vanished.
Right, which also leads her to lose her Christmas spirit eventually.
Yeah.
So, well, because she's even more depressed then too. She's been with the guy for what, 900 years, they said?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and then at the very end of this episode, they're talking in the living room and freeze.
They freeze, and then a hand
touches Scott, and then credits.
The endings of these episodes, because every single one I've been like, no, I want to see what happens next.
Yeah,
they do such a good job with the storytelling.
Yeah. It's because it's shot like a movie. It's just 1 3-hour movie that you'll never watch as a 3-hour movie. Well, it's probably less than that if you cut out all the credits and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's probably about a 2-hour and 45-minute movie. Let's say.
Yeah. Anything else on chapter 4 before we get into the explosive chapter 5?
When the freeze frame happened, did you think it was anyone specific?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Who'd you think it was before we dive into the episode?
Well, we knew from the trailer that someone was returning. Yeah. And we had not seen him yet.
So you automatically assumed it was him?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right, so then jump into episode 5.
Across the Yule. Oh god, this episode was so good.
Yeah.
We find out that hand belongs to Bernard.
Yes.
And he decides to take Scott through the Yuleverse, as Scott has dubbed it, to speak to other Santas and regain his confidence and realize he needs to go back to the North Pole and save Christmas.
Before we do any of that,
I was just giving a rough summary.
Okay. He explains why he aged. why he
Yeah,
left
he
the
gave
world.
up his immortality to be with an 80-year-old woman. He's
Yes,
like,
he
yeah, I
did.
know, we're a few centuries apart.
So when she dies, does he go back and just be immortal again?
Well, I mean, as far as we know, nothing says he can't.
True. Yeah. Movie
Yeah.
magic.
Oh my god, excuse me.
So he explains that, and then and he's like, then Scott's like, well, what's up with all the freeze framey things here? And he's like, oh yeah, he shows him
It's
this
a
little
button.
clicker, but I swear, didn't he have that power in the first movie to freeze them?
Yeah, it was probably the clickers.
Right. So
We just didn't see the clicker.
why are they making it a big deal like we've never seen that power before?
It's never been explained why he was the only one who could do it.
Because they kind of made it seem like it was something new. But in the first movie, I swore that he did it in the living room. Right? Or am I losing my mind?
I'm pretty sure he did, but it never got explained why Bernard could do that.
Okay. Because the first time that I saw those guys get frozen in the previous episode, I was like, oh, it's Bernard. Because I was like, he's the only one that froze people, as far as my mind remembered.
Recollection, yeah.
Either that or I just made that shit up in my head. I don't know. So yeah, so he's got the clicker and he unclicks it, and then they're like, "Oh, it's Bernard! Hey, Bernard!" And he clicks it again.
Yeah, they're all, it's like, yeah, hey.
He's like, "I don't want to be you when you unfreeze her."
Oh, yeah.
And then he takes him into the Yuleverse, where you see all the different Santa. Well, you get
we
to
meet
see
Santa 17 was the one that was. I don't understand this. Does that mean that the Santas just because this is where we find out that Scott is the first human Santa Claus,
yes,
and the rest of them were ethereal beings? Does they
Yeah.
just
just
make
take
new
their-
versions of themselves when they're ready to be done?
or they just change.
They never explained. If they go do a season 2, I hope they explain that better.
Well, they probably just change up, like, hey, I'm done. You want to take over? Like, tag in for a little bit for a few centuries.
And we meet the original Saint Nicholas.
Before that, we get to
we also meet someone else.
We meet Krampus, and he just walks through, and he's like, "Oh, hey, Krampus." So I'm assuming Krampus is still Krampus in the time. He's like, "You're just taking the toys, okay? Whatever." Better than killing them, I guess.
Yeah, where we got the fringe with Belfana of the Christmas lore, we get full on with this. Every version of Santa Claus that has pretty much ever been on paper is seen in this episode, and it's great. And they give him the confidence. He's like, hey, the spirit of giving, it's dying. People only want now. It's killing Christmas.
But as you were saying before, though, like, he does get to meet the original Saint Nick, like the Saint Nick, who's, they explain some of his backstory about, he had all this wealth. He used it to give back to everybody else that didn't have anything. And that thus created this weird magical force out of nothing, almost, which basically kind of like, I don't want to say assimilated. What was the better word? Like procured or manifested. There we go. Manifested this magic in the elves and the Santa Claus whole unit as one thing. So like his goodness being so good in the world at the time that he was created and manifested so much goodness in the world to give back. That's what created the North Pole elves, Santa, and all that stuff. And not like the North Pole, because the North Pole is probably always there. I get it. But like the North Pole magical place itself. So yeah. And that was cool. Cool little way to do that. I'm in the middle of writing my own Santa Claus type movie, honestly. And I thought that was a really cool way as to how Santa's magic was created. I'm not going to use that, of course, but I'm always looking at these these different routes that people use as backstory for it, because there's so many religious ways or historical ways and stuff like that you could do. So
Yeah, and what really turns Scott around is Bernard mentions that the elves are disappearing, and he's like, "Why didn't you lead with that?"
yeah.
And then he does the same thing to his family.
How come it would have been really cool if Robot Santa was there in a globe or something, in the snow globe?
Yeah, that's true. Or Jack Frost.
No, because he's thawed out. He's just Jack now.
Yeah, all right. Anything else about chapter 5 before we get into this final conclusion?
So we get those guys. We get him to come back out of the Yuleverse, and then he's telling them about the Yuleverse, and he says Yuleverse, and they're like, "Really, Yuleverse?" Yeah, just say it, Yuleverse. And you're like, "Oh, what about this, and this?"
They
say a bunch of different ones.
Yeah. His wife makes fun of him. Yeah.
and then that's when he is saying, "Well, we're gonna go back to the North Pole," and then he tells them to go get ready because he doesn't want them to come, and that's when he dips off with Noel back to the North Pole, right in a stable of manure.
Yeah. Yep. He lands there.
Then we go. He ends up getting arrested. They get caught.
They use the orb of measurement of Christmas magic, by the way, to go to the North Pole. That's how they get there.
Yeah.
And then they get caught and thrown in jail.
They don't show how they get thrown in jail. They just get in jail.
Yeah. Well, first they split up. Noel goes to find Betty, who unfortunately doesn't find her until after she has vanished. So he doesn't find her. And then
Scott goes and gets the
elf. The elf. What the hell is his name?
The elf with the elf who believes that because he doesn't have Christmas spirit, he hasn't had Christmas spirit, I guess. He believes that if he takes off his tinfoil cap that he'll disappear. And
as far as we know, that turned out to be true.
Right.
So
in the next
the very last and remember, this is the team from the very first Santa Claus movie that rescued him from the police jail. The elves with attitude. He's the only member left due to fudge backs. Then we get into the last episode where the family finds a way to get to Christmas by realizing that the daughter can talk to animals and the son can see the wormholes that Santa uses. And so she convinces a horse to pull them to the North Pole, rescuing Scott from the jail. There's such like only like 27-minute episodes. There's so much that happens in them.
Oh yeah.
Oh god. Simon finds the robo guards that Robot Santa used in the second movie and sets them loose to stop the family from getting the coat because
didn't the drones tell him about them?
Yeah, they overheard Scott and the elf talking, and then the elf straight up told the drone. Yeah. And the drone told Simon that whoever has the coat controls the North Pole.
But how did the drones know about the soldiers?
They didn't. No.
Yeah,
I think the drones tell him about a door.
Well, he says that I need an army. I need an army of soldiers or whatever, and we're like, well, we can help you with that.
Yeah, and let's see. The coat escapes from Belfana's place, so she goes and she's like, "All right, time for me to get involved."
Mm-hmm.
Mrs. Claus, they free Scott by eating the jail because they find out it's just licorice. They could have done that to begin with, but the guy was having fun spending time with him.
Right.
Noel knocks the head off him. He disappears and says, "I will haunt you." Let's see what else. Oh, the coat has arrived, and we get the creepy ass scene of it crawling down the hallway.
Yeah, I feel I've seen this in like a
horror
weird
movie?
horror movie. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Mrs.
freaky.
Claus beats the crap out of all the Robo Guards from her introduction movie, I might add. So
Yep.
that was cool.
Yep.
And yeah, so we reached the conclusion. Anything from what I said that I may have skimmed over?
This we do see his daughter,
Grace,
Grace, is trying
Simon's
to,
daughter.
yeah, Simon's daughter. She's trying to like get him to interact, and then he yells at her,
Yeah,
abruptly, and he's just like, "Get the hell out of here!" Basically, go to your room.
she has
We'll
been
do it later. Whatever.
oblivious to what her dad is doing to Christmas.
Yeah.
Because she's just so excited. You know, she's in the North Pole. She's a
Yeah.
kid. She's,
But she's
more
like,
focused on that.
she notices all these elves are disappearing, and he's like, "Go to your room, stay in there, shut the door. These people are bad. They're trying to stop me."
Yeah, he
Whatever.
finally loses his temper on her
Yeah.
because so stressed out.
And she's in the room, and that's where she overhears the brother and sister. I want to say it is. Or no,
I think
the
just
sister.
Sandra, because she went and collected her weird animation
so-
otter.
Yeah. The otter and Sandra are talking, and she's telling her the otter what's going on, and she overhears that, and that's when she's like, "Okay, I gotta do something." And she already has the globe that she picked out earlier that she was trying to give to her dad, but he
shows
didn't
the
want it
best
again.
Christmas memory.
Right.
And again, the globes, they're so important in this series. So we get to the final confrontation. Belfana appears and is quickly dispatched. She does nothing.
Yeah, she just gets knocked right out. And then
It's a tussle between Simon and Scott for the coat. And Simon ends up with it, but Grace appears. Are you the bad guy?
Oh no, he tries to burn the coat.
Oh yeah, he wants to kill the coat. Kill Christmas.
He threatens to burn the coat, which I'm like wondering why the coat didn't like get super heavy again and fall down to the ground.
Because his whole thing is he's making Christmas relevant. He doesn't see the harm that he's doing.
Yeah. He's saying Christmas every day. So you're giving everybody what they want when they want it all the time. And also on top of it, the North Pole is now charging a subscription fee because he set up a subscription fee for it.
Oh yeah, that's what finally does Betty in. She's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. We don't charge,
And then she lied to a child that might have done it too.
Yeah.
She did everything she could to keep Grace from
money.
knowing what was going on. And that,
yeah.
The character and that actress, I'm telling you, future.
Well, you gotta think, like, she's 900 years old, so she knows what she should and shouldn't do. And then on top of it, it's like she still has to abide by the rules of the North Pole that Santa's in charge.
Yeah.
But still, technically, he never put the coat on, so he's not Santa.
No.
So
technically, there is no Santa right now.
There was no Santa at that moment, hence why a lot of the magic and stuff was also going, too. But I'm like, you can't, you didn't have to listen to that guy. He wasn't your boss.
Yeah. But so he tries to burn it. That's when Grace shows up with the
I do want to point out, remember Bernard kept telling them that they're all shit Santas? Scott was the only good one because, he was a human and he wanted
he may
to
have
do
his
this.
flaws and weaknesses and inabilities and ignorance. Yeah. He's like, thanks.
But he was like, all you guys sucked. What are you talking about? You took advantage of all of us. Elves did all the work. But Scott was like the one that, we saw him in like episode in 3 where he was literally rebuilding stuff out of the broken parts to help out when the machines were going awry and stuff like that. So he was in the workshop with the elves, and apparently these other Santas just weren't. Like they were just shit Santas. Yeah. All right. All right, so moving on, let's close this up.
So Grace is there. She shows up behind him. Are you the bad guy? And Simon doesn't know how to answer that. So Scott does it for him. No, he's not. He's just doing what he thinks is right and not realizing what it's doing to other people right now.
Yeah.
And he does his whole spiel about how Christmas, the whole magic of it is giving to others, showing your care and want to be around them. And so Simon's like, oh, all right, yeah, no shit, what did I do? And then he looks in the snow globe and sees the first Christmas after his wife passed with his daughter, and how much he tried to help her. And then we got a flashback a couple episodes ago of before his wife passed. Sometime in July, she decorated the house as Christmas. He's like, you need to be there for her. And he's like, I'm going to give her the world. And we get the continuation of that where it goes, no, she needs a father, not the world.
Yeah.
And so, he's realizing he's been so wrapped up in everything. He hasn't done anything with her since getting to the North Pole, pretty much. So
yeah, they set it up as just like he, and it's a good thing too for parents, because it's like you try and do these things that you think are what the kids need or want, but really what they need is a parent. Like they need to be parented. Like, your kid may like you now because you're the cool parent and you're the friend, but guess what? When you're older, they're going to hate you because you didn't teach them any discipline or any of these things, or hang out with them, all that stuff, So,
yeah, make time for family.
Yeah.
Make time for friends. Like, time goes quicker than any of us realize, and you don't want too much time to pass,
Yeah.
But yeah, so they realize what's most important. He doesn't give the code. Scott steals it back, but he goes to give it back to him. Scott's just like, just in case you didn't realize the truth, I took it anyway.
Right.
And does he put the coat on first?
Oh, he's putting
no,
it
they
on
all
mid.
hug, and then the
yeah,
elves
yeah,
come back.
Yeah.
And something we skimmed over earlier, but the kids freak out when they see regular Scott, because they've only known him as Santa their whole life. Like, this is what he looks like normally.
Yeah.
So he puts the coat back on, and we see him change back into the Santa. And, the kids are relieved. They have their dad back, the one they remember. Santa, the elves, he's got renewed vigor for Christmas, because he's talking about how things got hard, and instead of stepping up, I stepped down. That's kind of a good message too.
Don't give up.
Yeah, and we got the reuniting of Betty and Noel, which again, I wish that he had been. Why did you tell me? He's like, I left you a note.
Yeah.
It's just that one line I wish they would have done. But yeah, and excuse me, they leave. What's her name? The one jokester elf. Do you remember her name?
I do not recall. No.
I don't either.
The one who messes around with Mrs. Claus all the time.
Yeah, Edie.
Yeah.
Edie takes Simon and Grace back to their house, and she's like, "Oh, you won't remember." They're like, "Oh, well, that's sad, but that's all right." Their big plan to bring back the Christmas spirit to the families. They took every snow globe from the chamber.
Yep.
And they delivered it to houses. And Cal got to deliver the Loki Funko Pop to his the love interest's house, where she's waiting for him, and she realizes that he is the kid of Santa. He wasn't lying, wasn't making it up in the last couple episodes. and then he learns how to fly.
Don't you think that when your fireplace changes shape, that's kind of something going on there?
Yeah, she's just kind of in disbelief this whole thing. And what's the end of this scene is so weird because he floats.
Yeah, he's floating.
He can fly without the bag.
So they do that scene, and then they go back in, and you know,
that's something too. Scott finally, he's like, we're gonna spend a Christmas together. We're all delivering this as a team.
Yeah, they're all delivering them as a team. They deliver that pop, the Funko Pop and stuff, so he can get that. He goes back up, and he's like, "What, did you dust her?" Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think so. Yeah, of course. Which he means he didn't.
No, he forgot.
and
or didn't want to.
And then that's when he says, you know, it's gonna be awesome because everybody's gonna wake up to something that they didn't ask for. And
that is a really great line.
Then we get the scene where everyone's opening them up and stuff, you know, towards the end here, and everyone's opening them up, and it's their memories and stuff. And before I started tearing up, and as I said it to my wife, I was like, he gave them their memories. And it's so fucking awesome that, you know, you get a movie like this show. It's not something Disney does anymore, you know, like they don't do shows like this where it actually has a meaning. There's something to it other than like commercialism, you know?
Yeah.
And it really hit me at home, and I was just like, damn, he literally gave them memories, because what's more important than our memories, you know, besides living in the now, to live with your family, take care of the families you're living with and loving, but the memories are what holds us on. When we're old and decrepit and in nursing homes, we're only going to have our memories. So it was really a heartfelt ending, dude. I really enjoyed it. And then we end with a successful Christmas. And that's how it ends.
And you know, it's one of the most, because we just watched Christmas Vacation, and that's one of the most powerful scenes in that. It's a comedy, but when he gets trapped in the attic with the old films of him as a child, where he's watching it and stuff, I don't care to watch old videos of me. My dad took a ton. He was always filming for everything, so we have a ton of stuff. It's not just him. He got it from his dad. My grandpa filmed so we have so many VHS tapes of family history just sitting there decaying because VHS doesn't last forever. And it's like, I don't know, it hits you because it's like you remember that stuff. Because one of my favorite memories as a kid was when me and my dad had a snowball fight out in his front yard. We built like little snow walls and hid behind, and you know, it's stuff like that. Thinking about good memories from the past.
Right. Everyone wants to focus on what they're gonna do next, and
what's going on now? What do I need to do in the future?
Yeah.
Even less now. They're not focused on the now. You know, that's people in my life I wish would do more of that, and it disappoints me that they don't. They just let it pass by, but what can you do? But yeah, you're so right about this show having a different ending than what it's like the old Disney.
Yeah. It definitely gives that older feeling, that feeling of, remember, you know, family and memories and all these things are what this company was built on, you know. And it definitely hits home, probably harder for people who've grown throughout the decades watching not just this franchise, but watching Disney alone, or, you know, you have kids, you don't have kids, you still feel the impact of this. You know, memories is what we're going to have. I mean, we lose our memories, we lose ourselves. Honestly, like, who are we without our past? You know? And that doesn't mean always look to the past, but still, you know, you need to know where you came from to be who you are and to know where you're going. And I really think that this show hit home with that, or I might just be reading way too much into it. I don't know. But I really think that it did hit home with it, and I'm very glad that we got to see this in my lifetime. I didn't think that we were gonna get more Santa Claus, and I'm glad
No,
that we did
and
with
now
Tim
we
Allen.
got the potential of more.
Right.
This is the best news I have ever heard. Like this, how do I put this? The Santa Claus is much more than a Christmas movie. It's got so much heart and meaning
Mhm.
into it. And the whole franchise really, especially this show, it amplifies all of those movies. Like they not only made a successful sequel, they
Mhm.
managed to take what already exists and make it better.
Yeah.
How often does that happen anymore?
Right. Right. And it's not like a requel or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
a straight up sequel to it's a continuation
Mhm.
to the movies, and that's it. And I think that they did a very good job, and especially for me, they got the emotion out of me that hopefully that they were wanting. Um, but I also am learning that I think I'm getting older, so I'm crying more in movies, like certain points. I just
That's
get
because you're a
more
beach.
emotional. I know, right? I'm turning into Kevin Smith. Sorry, guys. I'm crying every time I see a
You
trailer
know what?
now.
Everyone makes fun of Kevin Smith, but there's nothing wrong with feeling that much attachment to things. So,
To characters, especially too, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I feel I'm more attached to the characters than normal people.
Yeah, that's because people keep sucking.
But yeah, I like this. I really enjoyed it. I definitely recommend people watch it. I definitely recommend people recommend it to other people for sure. Um, and if we spoiled it for you, hey, we said to go watch
Like,
it.
if you haven't got it by now, this is something that you should absolutely go watch. Like, it
Yeah.
is, especially if you love those old films or just Tim Allen in general.
Mm, yeah. Yeah. And it's definitely not like what most Christmas things are lately. They're either raunchy or they're uh horror films or they're hallmarky. This is none of those. This is not hallmarky. This is not horror. This is not raunchy. This is a good old fashioned family story, and I really enjoy it. And I'm glad that
Mhm.
they added in. Hopefully, next season we get to see, like, say, Curtis comes in for something, you know,
Yeah,
or
that would be great.
we get the daughter
And
from
they,
the other uh couple come back in, or the other
Lucy,
couple. Yeah,
yeah,
Lucy.
they weren't in the show at all.
They weren't in
Uh,
here, or even
I'd
some of
love to
the
get more of
extra
Charlie.
more Charlie.
It's Charlie's wife realizing what her father-in-law does. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
um, One thing that I would like to see, because they did, if this is going to be the end of the Santa Claus, I would like them to do this story to completion of the retirement clause, as you put it.
yeah,
Because they did mention in the Yuleverse that they said he would feel it when he found the person that would replace him. And as soon as he said that, my first thought was, oh, Sarah.
yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if they continue this. Like I said, I feel like that would be a great way to close out this franchise is for him to pass the torch.
Yeah, to somebody that
So
is definitely worth it. Yeah,
mhm.
definitely, man. I 100% agree. If you're gonna end it out, end it, and let's get it going. But
Yeah.
especially before he passes, and then like Disney fucks the whole thing up with the Disney fuckery.
Oh, they're gonna do that inevitably anyway. Let's just enjoy it while we can.
Yeah, yeah, true. They can't all be winners, right?
Yeah. We should
All right.
probably be wrapping this up though.
Yeah,
I
let's
gotta take
get
some
going
shit to the
here.
vet.
So, anyways, end go watch this. Watch all the Santa Claus franchise movies out there with Tim Allen. Definitely recommend those. Do you have any other recommendations for this Christmas, real quick? One or two of them,
Oh God.
besides
Christmas with
Home
the
Alone.
Cranks. Yeah, Home Alone. What are some of my Elf? Really good.
Okay.
Will Ferrell. Uh, Sure, shoot, there's so many good Christmas
Okay.
movies. It's
Well,
hard
yeah,
to keep.
I definitely second Christmas with the Cranks. Great one. And probably
Galaxy Quest. Go with Tim Allen movies.
yeah, just go watch Galaxy Quest. That's an awesome movie. Maybe if more people watch Galaxy Quest on streaming, they'll boost their numbers and they'll do the show finally before he goes. Boom. Let's get that.
Amazon. Fucking
Also,
do it.
hit Tim Allen up and tell him we want to talk to him. So I would love to have him on the show.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys. Hashtag my Santa. All right, Tivis. Real quick, how did you enjoy today's episode, my man?
I liked it.
Awesome. Sounds good. I liked it too. With that said, guys, my quote today comes from not a movie. I found a quote from Bob Phillips. And I'm not sure who that is. So it says Bob Phillips, Country Living. All right. It goes, there are 3 stages of man. He believes in Santa Claus. He does not believe in Santa Claus. He is Santa Claus. There we go. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Happy New Year. Happy holidays. We'll see you 2023.
All right. Peace.
You just finished another great episode of Operation Babble. You can catch every episode of Operation Babble on all your audio streaming services, including SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Radio Public, and more. Don't forget to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/Operation Babble. And join the conversation today by searching for the Operation Babble group on Facebook. Links also in the description. Thanks and have a great day.